joining us. My name is Brad Koch with the Public Affairs, and today we wanted to discuss and provide an update on the exchange zones that we created back in November of 2017. These were areas that were designated where people could meet to more safely conduct online transactions. Today we want to remind the community about those exchange zones and let you know that we've seen a decrease in crime related to those types of transactions since these zones were created about 18 months ago. Crime Prevention Officer Jonathan Frisk, and that is spelled Johnathan, Frisk, F-R-I-S-K, is here to tell you more about this successful project. Officer Frisk.
Thank you. Good morning. As of June 5th of 2019, very recent, there was a victim, a 31-year-old victim that conducted an online transaction through a marketplace through Facebook. That victim, she was robbed along with two other victims, and they met at a dead end. It was for an iPhone for a very reasonable price. As we all know, iPhones range from $800 to $1,000. Those suspects recently, they were arrested. After the investigation, they were arrested. That's why it's so important that we come here today to let people know about our exchange zone, and that we want people and we encourage people to utilize our exchange zone. Of course, it's very difficult for us to count crimes that don't happen if we're not aware of them, or to measure our success in that area. But there's no question that we've seen a reduction in the number of robberies during these transactions using online apps such as Facebook Marketplace, Let Go, and OfferUp. In 2017, as Captain mentioned, we investigated more than 40 robberies associated with transactions set up online. To be exact, 40 exact robberies. In 2018, that number dropped to 34. So far this year, we've had 19 in 2019. I want to emphasize the importance of using caution anytime you meet a stranger to conduct any type of financial transaction. This type of transaction, we want you to consider using the exchange zone. There are 15 exchange zones throughout Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. Those exchange zones are all at the quick trips, commonly known as QT. They all have parking spaces, something very common like a handicap sign. And there are two red, lines that are painted in front of there that are 24-hour video monitored. And I want to emphasize on that. Not video surveillance, video monitored, meaning there are cameras that are in those particular areas. Of course, using common sense, meeting during the day, making sure if you can, bring somebody with you to go and do these online transactions. Once again, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, okay? Don't go. It's just that simple. What questions do you have for me this morning as far as these exchange zones?
The numbers that you have,
Right.
for example, 2019, 19 so far this year,
Correct.
I'm guessing that those, or tell me, did those happen at a QT, or did they, where were they?
No, I would say they probably did not happen at a QT. That would have just been spread out throughout the entire city. So at non-exchange zone locations.
Why do you think the numbers are dipping?
Well, I believe that we would hope that people are taking our advice and going to an exchange zone where it's video monitored. Maybe not an exchange zone. Maybe they're coming to different police stations. Maybe they're going to different areas where there are a lot of people, in parking lots, at different gas stations. I believe that a lot of people have taken our advice, and they're going and they're just being a little bit smarter about this when they're meeting a complete stranger.
How often, Officer Frisch, do you see people being robbed in these, like in other public places, like grocery store parking lots thinking that's safe. I've covered a couple stories where people have gone to like outside of Harris Teeter and they thought, oh, this must be a safe place. Are the safe zones a lot safer than those kind of
Yeah,
places?
well, first, I want to say, we don't call them a safe zone. It is just primarily, it's just an exchange zone. We don't want anyone to get the perception that this is safer or the safest place. We would never say that. It is simply an exchange zone. And as far as that, Alex, are there robberies at Harris Teeter parking lots during, when people are doing these transactions? I don't have those exact numbers at this point.
But you think the exchange zone is a lot safer than just about even very public places?
Yeah, I think common sense would tell us that if you're meeting a complete stranger that you don't know during the day in a public parking space, that it's a little bit safer than meeting someone perhaps at nighttime on a dead-end street, if that makes sense.
All right, thank you all very much.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, Officer Chris. Do we have any other questions that I could possibly answer for you right now?
Oh, Captain, as far as the homicide of the teenager the other day, any more information about how it escalated from an apparent robbery into that horrible situation at the end?
No, I mean, I would think that that is yet another example of where people take minor differences and, escalate that with violence.
And do you think that's a big part of the overall homicide rate that we're seeing this year and why it's somewhat, on pace to be much higher than last year?
Well, I think that, the chief has spoken at length about the number of violent crime, the significant increase in violent crime that we have seen as a result of people taking minor differences and introducing guns to those situations, so. All right.
I have one other nuance about the letters that UNCC Charlotte students have been writing to police, like the thank yous. Can you talk about from the law enforcement how it feels to be getting that recognition and that appreciation?
Yeah, it's a unique time for law enforcement. It's changed significantly over the years, and it ebbs and flows with people appreciating law enforcement to where people don't necessarily appreciate law enforcement. So certainly, any time that our officers, any officers can receive some positive recognition, it helps. Because that's really what we're here for, to serve the community, and having that recognition from the community is really what it's all about. Any other questions, Alex? Good? Anybody else?
Thanks,
All right,
Alex.
thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Have a good day.